perfect.
What are you doing here? Is it, welcome everybody, can, David hear us, or how does that work? Okay.
We can ask him.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I tried to find my.
David, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
His mic is on.
Recording in progress.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I got a mute.
We can hear you now. Okay, let's get started. So everybody, thank you for coming. Got a few changes coming with us today that we'll go over here in a few minutes. And we didn't put out any minutes to be approved, so we'll work on them next time. So,
Yeah, she sent them out.
oh, you did? Okay, yeah. Okay, does anybody have any comments or questions? Do we have enough? We have a.
You do because you can use.
Okay, we're on new changes, so. Do you have any questions or comments on the minutes? If not, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Maybe ticky tacky, but it's PPC packaging that we visited, not PCC.
Okay. PPC.
PC packaging.
Yeah,
Flexible packaging.
Well, then likes to keep changing that.
That's season wide. It's been a while.
I've changed a lot since I.
Yeah, it has.
there. So with the corrections, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Someone.
Okay, Mark, and second,
I'll second.
Jim, second. All in favor? Aye. So how many months did that, like, July last year?
Or November.
Okay,
So did you two vote?
Yeah.
let's, pass these out real quick.
Did David Charles, did you vote?
For that?
Yes, I did.
Yep. So at city council, 3 weeks ago, I passed a new ordinance for our economic development committee board. We talked about that a little bit in here, but if you go down to the B, that's where the biggest changes are, but it just says that, the board will be 11 members. Before, we never really had a set number of members, so it's kind of flux. And till this last time, when, Kurt and Mark got on, we didn't have applications, we just run around and talk to people and invite them to be on this board. So basically it'll be each board, there'll be 11 members of the board. And then they'll have appointment, then it'll be a 3-year term. And at the end of 3 years, then we'll put that out that it's open for people to be on the board. And so, do that, we had to make a few changes because we have more than 11 on the board. So I think there's one other thing. Oh yeah, then on C, to make sure we always have a quorum, is that Dave, the city manager, assistant city manager, and Jill, development services director, are ex officio members of the board, so they can vote if there's not enough quorum to do that. So
They're not part of the 11.
they're not part of the 11, but. And anybody can come to this meeting, so it's not just that if you aren't on the board, and we're open, we aren't gonna say you can only talk when you at the very beginning or anything like that. So anybody can come.
30 seconds.
Yeah, you got your 30 seconds. So this is what I proposed for the board, and pass these down. We can have a discussion about it.
Who gets the 9-year term?
You.
David, you can't see this, so, go through it a little bit, so. The mayor and myself, we're just appointed basically by the mayor just because it gets elected. Myself, is appointed by the city council, and as long as I'm in it. That could change any time, those two. Then we have the three that we're gonna be a 1 year, term. So we can start staggering these, so Ben Ford, Lynn Appenap, and David Charles will be 1 year. Then, 2 year will be Ty Jones, Jim Rowland, and Kevin Johnson, and then 3 year will be Chris Phillips, Mark Kershaw, and Larry Skinner. So I just have to open for discussion, see if this works for everybody, if you have any objections to it, or.
Yeah, that's good.
After the 4 years, then we just either reapply?
So yours is 3 years.
Okay,
So yeah, you can reapply, or not or anybody can quit anytime they want to too, and then we put something out and fill it. So it doesn't mean you have to stay whatever term it
you're
is.
not
but-
kicking us out, actually.
No, you just have to reapply.
Okay,
That happens with the planning commission a lot, they'll reapply and, but others can apply too and then go through a process.
I think on the planning commission, had somebody that's over 20 years, because they just kept reapplying, and reappointing, actually closer to 30.
It was.
John Callan was 32 or something like that, so a long time.
So yeah, that doesn't mean you're gonna be gone, it just means that you have to apply.
And is there a date, is it the end of the year? So-
Well, it says right in,
March 1st is when you have to apply.
Oh, March 30th.
yeah, it's in the.
Well, that's when it'll be noticed, March 1st. And appointments by May 1st.
Okay. Any more discussion on this? If not, we could have a vote on it, and then we'll send this to. I don't even know, does this even have to go to the city council, because we aren't applying to get anybody new,
They appoint.
right, we aren't doing anybody new,
Yeah, we're.
because we're setting the term.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll just do another resolution with what you're proposing.
Okay.
Get it to the council.
So do we have a motion to approve these changes to our board? Okay. Have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Who was the second?
Worked. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I think I heard Dave say something like that.
And
Tyler
Ted
Jones
Jones.
is on.
Ted Jones is on.
So did you hear that, Ty? You're muted, Ty.
He's muted.
Yeah, I heard it.
Did you
And
vote?
I,
Yeah.
that's his vote.
He cast a vote.
Okay, committee reports, assignments and goals. So we'll start with, Chris, why don't you report on, well, let me pass this out. So this is just our committees. And we'll be changing the board on the.
So yeah, we are developing our tournament is gonna be October 2nd, this is Thursday. We did go over our sponsorship package and we're not making any changes to it at this point. So everything that, pretty much what we handed out last year is gonna be the same for this year. We did go over a couple of different ideas. Last year functioned pretty good, and so I think we may just keep it really close to the same with just a couple of tweaks on it, so. Anyways, but we're moving on, and now we're gonna start working on sponsorships.
And we're gonna have 2 helicopters, right?
Sure, Dave has approved that budget. so you're good to go.
We're gonna have to raise more money.
Well, one thing, if you remember about the golf event, you can start inviting people now, but we want to make an emphasis this year is we've done fair, but we want to do a lot better at getting businesses that we think might be able to move to Payson. So we start thinking about that, inviting them early and letting them know. That's the purpose of this is for economic development, not just have a good time with people in Payson or anything like that, but to get those people that we want to come to Payson. Okay, Kirk. Report on
Our strategic plan, we've met a couple of times in the last couple of months, 3 months, and we've taken the existing documents we have and gone through them and updated about a third of it, I would say. I actually left it sitting on my desk at home, so can't remember the exact number, but we're working forward. We'll have another meeting and get through the rest of it and then bring it here to have everybody look at it and review.
Okay, thank you. Robert.
The Business Retention Committee met yesterday. That was really great. We, thank you to these two, Lynn and Chris for doing double duty today. And Jim.
And Jim.
We had a really good discussion about what we can do in this committee to focus on business retention, and we really felt that maybe networking with those existing businesses would be a good place to start. Not only to understand what's going on in the business world, but also to maybe get a little bit more information out about what the city is doing to help with business retention and all of the development that is coming and how we're planning for that and how they can participate in that. So we'll be meeting monthly and continue to give you some reports.
So could I ask you a couple of things? We asked every committee to have 2 or 3 goals for this year. And then we'll come back and we go through the goals. I should have brought them for the other, some of the other committees have those goals. So then we can review them each time. And the other thing is, I think we've talked about going out once a month as a group and bringing somebody into this meeting. Could I put that onto your committee to make sure that happens, to bring somebody in this committee from a business to talk to us for a few minutes and then make them one go out?
We'll make the invitations.
Okay.
And we will do our best to get somebody here.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Mark.
We met just this last month as the education committee. We came up with 3 goals. One we've already been working on for some time now. That's the development of marketing and outreach materials. We've traditionally been bringing in businesses, talking to them like PPC, Paris RV, getting to know them better. But we realized we're just not moving fast enough to get the word out. So we've got through an association and collaboration with UVU, we've got an online presence now where people can go on to the Payson City website and click on there and get more information. Just no one knows about it. So we realized we've got to do more to make people aware of that. So we're collaborating again with our education partners, MTech and ALC to come up with a brochure. And that brings us to our other 2 goals, which is we want to engage businesses through chamber and committee meetings. So attending biannual business meeting with the chamber and just talking to them about, what are we trying to do here? UVU, MTech, ALC, they have all got their own methods set up to do outreach, but we wanted to bring an extra level of connectivity between the businesses here and their education partners. So we want to do that through attending those meetings and just talking about what we're doing. And if they would like to get more information, they can talk to us directly, go to the website, get a pamphlet, those kinds of things so that we can start increasing that connectivity. And that awareness of what resources really are available, because there's some really cool things that our education partners have done with businesses. So that the third goal would be participating in, and not just with businesses that are established, but we want to participate in the economic development golf tournament and have a booth there as well, so that we can share our vision of, hey, you want to come to Payson? Great. We have some great partnership, educational partners, and then have the representatives there at the booth to talk about how they can help their businesses. So we're hoping we can waive that booth fee as well.
Did the colleges have booths at the tournament?
Amtech,
Can you-
Amtech has been there,
They had their own
but
booth on the tee box.
I think one thing that Kevin had suggested, we talked about it yesterday, was doing, you know, like how we have home to adventure. Kind of keep that same theme and do like, home to education, home to.
Adventures in education is what we've talked about.
Yeah.
We would do like for our booth, kind of a banner backdrop that would have that theme. And then we would have our educational partners there to, and reflecting their specific group or organization they represent, so that they can, you know, the business can go, oh, I want to talk to you.
We'll put you down for doing that one then.
Awesome. If we can waive the fee too, our committee has no funds whatsoever.
I don't know, what do you think, Brian?
I'm pulling number 18.
I don't have any control over him. There's no mountain views on 10.
Permanent home.
So we had talked too about putting a booth in Onion Days, Adventure Day, and just trying to get a good
Right,
message out to the
right.
public
Yeah.
better. So I don't know. Challenge with Onion Days, the chamber doesn't do good with Onion Days, because there's not enough manpower to keep it open for days. But Adventure Day is not an issue.
Yeah, short ones like that, I think we could fully staff for.
So any thought on that, even combining with the economic development?
Yeah, Jim, if you guys want to booth at Onion Days, the spaces go so fast.
Yeah, she said it'll happen this month, so.
Going pretty quick. The city has.
So
The
should
city has an
we,
information booth.
yeah, should we incorporate economic development into those events or no?
You know, I'm okay just starting out initially with Adventure Day and the golf tournament with that. And then the biannual chamber meetings. And then maybe we look at the following year and once we have some success in our belt, hopefully, and some excitement, then maybe we look at Onion Days.
But my question is, do you want to do it as economic development?
That's a good question. What does everybody think? Because
We talked the same, that is the retention stuff too. I think we need to work on separating chamber from city and what's the responsibility, because people just use the city and they talk about business and all that. Well, the city has little to do with business stuff, but chamber should be more driving a lot of that. So I think that you gotta be a little careful with having the chamber and line stuff, because that's where the perception comes from. So what is the role of the chamber versus city?
So, or somewhere we gotta come with that, the definition. But what about, what about having a booth at the Onion Days, because to let residents know, and a lot of it do with development services, but you don't have anything in Onion Days, right? But it might be something good to show, because we get a lot of people there, or what we're doing, that a lot of the public doesn't see. But we might be able to show them at this time, here's some things going on in Payson, and this is our committee, and.
You'll have a lot of people asking, did you bring a little Texas Roadhouse?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's interesting, yesterday is the 4 or 5 of us, there were 6 that, we were talking about business retention, but the most exciting part of the meeting is when Robert was telling us about the future of what's coming to the interchange on Main Street, and if we're that interested, you can imagine the general public and everybody else be that interested, so just to have the booth there to kind of tell the future story and have a map or two, and And just people that are knowledgeable enough to answer some, general questions. I think it'd be really, I found it really useful with the chamber. We get great interaction at these events that we have with them.
Probably a good idea, because a lot of time, nobody comes to the council, nobody, if we have even, sometimes we'll have something, a specific thing, and we'll get, 30, 40 people there, but these people come and see, and even people from out of town, it's good to let them know too, so. Gil, do you think that's something we can work together at this group and development services and think about doing something like that?
Well, I know in the past when we've needed to gather community input on maybe a big planning effort, we usually tie that into the information booth at onion days. And I think that if you have something that was adjacent to, not everyone's gonna stop, but
Right.
somebody's gonna come and ask a question at the information booth, and then they've stopped. And then if they have a display or something that they can see, they may say, oh, well, I do have a question about this. So I've noticed that in the past of just being in the information booth. Or somebody will stop by and like, I've been back to Payson for years.
You're on
or we're here.
speakerphone, Bill. Okay,
That would be because of the name of the truck.
okay, well, we'll see you. Okay, thanks, see you, bye.
So would it make sense maybe to have them next to the chamber so that to kind of help see the separation of the chamber and the economic development and one conversation can lead to another and, business questions, the chamber's here to help.
Do they, is the chamber usually at onion days?
We haven't done onion days just due to manpower in the booth.
Another thing too, if we have an economic development with the innovation center, it'll be open at that time. We could let people know.
Take them into tours.
Yeah, and we could let people know that here's something, so another piece. For every business comes through here, we have something else for you that they might not know about.
Right, and that's where the chamber will kind of share that story and that's where we gotta kind of separate that city and chamber.
I think events like that are a really good way to disarm people. Because you're in an event in an environment that's much better with just dialogue and let's just have a conversation and stuff like that. Manpower is obviously the key.
Yeah.
Onion Days is a long event and there are a lot of hours that go into that. And Janine obviously doesn't want to have empty booths, right? And she will not tolerate that. So that's a big commitment, right? And so I think making sure that if we are committed, making sure that we have the manpower to do that. But then also the messaging that we're sending from both organizations becomes super important, right? And I think that's a good time, like you were saying, to draw that line. This is really what the chamber is doing, and this is what the city does. And we support each other, but this is the line.
And the biggest overlap we have in this is the business retention. The rest of it's pretty kind of separated, but it's the business retention that overlaps a lot.
But I think helping people understand that we understand where that overlap is and what that separation is, but I think everybody else does, like when this today and yesterday.
So again, like Robert says, it's gonna take some manpower. We can get people outside this organization to help and get other people, but would people be willing to take some time to help do that?
There's enough of us that we ought to be able to do it.
Yeah.
We ought to be able to manage.
We'll give the mayor a whole day there. Since he's not here. Okay, well, let's plan on that then. We'll get with Janine and get us some food. And we can get some good graphics for it. We'll work with development services, they'll be part of this deal.
But we're not gonna, if we have a booth for economic development and then there's a booth for chamber, whoever's in economic is not gonna man the chamber, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have. I don't have. manpower.
You got how many members? 120 members?
Members.
160 building. It's manpower.
Yeah, let's see if the businesses will come out and do that.
Okay, hi, you guys are
Yes.
just in time for your report on downtown.
Sorry I'm late, take it out of my paycheck. Anyway, yeah, trying to get kids to school, so anyway, downtown. Brian has done a lot of work and helped us get to tier 2 with the state program. Being on tier 2, there's a lot of responsibility. And Brian, while I catch my breath, do you wanna talk about that? I ran.
One of the big things is, grants. They, if you're tier 1, you don't have available some of the grants they have. One grant right now that's available is, in fact, I think they just had the first tranche, just had their ending to that, but they have another tranche is that they can get money up to $50,000, I think, to do interiors of buildings. Usually it's exteriors, but there's a grant to do interiors. So we need to talk to some of the, I think, like Lazy J wants to do something. And maybe the one people that just bought the Getaway, places like that. So there's some money to help on interiors. That's a good one. Then also we have the National Main Street Program coming up next month. So,
Yeah, and I believe Mayor Brian and Diane are from that, and so it's gonna be awesome, you know, they'll report. Another thing we're working on, Thor was a part of our board, and he has just become busy with life and stepped down. So we're trying to replace them and also build some more committee members. And so Robert, Brian again, and the city has helped us put together a job form to have people apply. And then once they get that, we're gonna start interviewing. Another thing is we got activities every month, starting in May, going till November downtown. And so, Mark, you spoke about booths. Jim, you spoke about booths where have to entertain something at a downtown event. If I could work with your goals and your visions. But other than that, I think our goals, one of which was to get to tier 2. We're on track for that. And then activities monthly. And then yeah, we're doing great. Any questions, concerns for downtown?
We have our holiday, I think we're calling it the Payson Christmas Festival. The Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving, so it will go in conjunction with the Santa Dash on Friday and what they do with their lighting. Although we're in downtown, I don't know if I'm doing anything special that day. And then Saturday we'll have the booths in the afternoons, probably 2 to 7. Christmas tree lighting again. And do you remember what time we did it?
6.
Oh, 6.
Was it 6:00? Can we do it earlier, or is that when it's dark?
We did it this last time with the Santa Dash, and
So wasn't it pushed back a little bit because of that? Because we were wondering if we
Yeah,
could do
that's-
it earlier, because we didn't really want to boost, we're trying to figure out the booth time.
okay, yeah, we'd have to figure out what you need in that event. And maybe we could do
He wants to do Santa Dash on Friday, so she's not gonna be involved in, it won't interfere with Saturday's event.
okay.
Yeah, I'll do it earlier. I mean,
I don't remember when it gets dark in December, and who knows what Trump will do, maybe a different time zone altogether. But if we plan on maybe 5:30 for the tree lighting, I don't, 5 o'clock, I don't, does anybody remember? How dark it was at 5 o'clock?
It depends on the lights.
I wouldn't do it any earlier than 5:30.
yeah, I was gonna say, if you have work people too, if you want people to attend.
We're
Or
a great crowd, and I'm not sure what, actually, we're gonna change the booth times to stay open after the event. This time, so we have a really good participation.
Was that tied into the small business Saturday?
Yeah, we're not gonna call it Small Business Saturday anymore, we're gonna call it the Payson Christmas Festival. And then just kind of promote it as a Friday, Saturday, promote the Santa dance a little bit more. So I don't know if there's anything else that the downtown committee wants to do to get involved with that.
Yeah, well, fortunately, the person over activities for downtown, you probably know her,
Yeah.
Diane. So, yeah.
And we do a really
she's
good
on
job
the
of
chamber,
communicating with
so-
all the businesses and getting them involved.
Yeah, no, last year was great, great work, you guys did wonderfully, and,
We got the new entertainment, event center opening up there in the old furniture place. So we're anxious to meet with them and see if maybe we can do something within their facility as well, and bring some traffic down to the north side.
be great. Yeah. Anything else for me?
Well, thanks, Ty, for all you do.
Thank you.
For business recruitment, we're gonna have Jill just give us a short presentation on what's going on and then if there's any gaps to fill in, but, Jill, you're up.
So short presentation?
Yeah. I put that in for you.
Yes.
Their specialty.
No. I don't know if I can ever talk about Payson and be
Short.
brief.
Actually, you have, what else we got on the agenda?
Let's see what else you can vote for the next meeting. Okay, and I can go through really
No,
quickly.
let me do this.
Oh, yes.
I'll do two things and you have the rest.
Oh.
So, we did sign up with, we used to have a place where we get data for Payson and we changed that to Alpha Maps, so we have different groups that we're working with. Then I put on the state real estate website. I forgot to look it up, but they do this through GoEO. They have a website now that has all the properties that are for sale, for rent, or like commercial and that, so. You know, anybody that has property for rent or for sale in Payson, let us know. They go through like all the commercial brokers that on site, so they pick that up all the time, but. You know, anybody personally that are small, has something like that, then we get it on the website, then we know.
So we feed that to you and then you get it uploaded?
Yeah, then we'll get it done.
Like space or?
Space, anything.
Okay. Anything.
That's available. That way, if somebody calls the city or calls us or calls you, you can look this up and say, here's some things that are available. And we'll always know what's available. So that's really good. So, the other thing is, do we want to have now we kind of reorganized the board and things like that. We had a retreat last year. We want to have a retreat again this year, in a couple of months, just kind of moving forward. I thought that went pretty well. I thought we got a lot of information, so anybody opposed to doing that? Okay, we'll try to work on that at a time to do that. And then, I know that there's one person just can't meet on Wednesday mornings. It seems like most of us can, but I'll see if there's some other times that might work for this group. Now we have a smaller group and just see what we can do to, so everybody can attend, then you can set it aside. We might look at later in the afternoon or some other days, so I'll send that out. If you get some feedback and see if there's a way we can do it. If not, we'll probably just keep it this time. It seems to work fairly good for everybody. Another thing is, I don't really want to do online for this meeting because I like people being in a room together. It just seems to work better. But if you have a reason, like you're out of town or
We're on the
something,
hospital bed.
or in a hospital bed,
Then
then
we're glad you're not doing that right now.
then by,
Yeah.
by permission, we're gonna let people be online too. So, but plan on being here for this meeting, but if there's a circumstance you can't be, and not just because you scheduled another meeting at the same time, but then we can work on that, so. Hey, Jill.
Okay, with that, I've got a few slides, and some of these projects you're probably aware of, so. If I start to see nice glaze over, then I know that you've already heard about this, and I don't need to take as much time. But anyway, I know that somebody had just mentioned a minute ago that Robert gave a great update on the freeway interchange.
She did.
So some of this might be a repeat. Hopefully my presentation is as dynamic as Robert was, you know.
I shoot from the hip.
Yes.
Jill actually prepares.
Anyway, so, okay, so I'll shoot through these and be sensitive with the time. Also, if you have questions, feel free to ask questions. I don't want this just to be a presentation. We definitely want to give you information and answer any questions that you may have. Understanding that you probably have questions yourself, or people that you know, or they come to you and have questions. So the first one is the redesigned freeway interchange. So there are a couple of things I want to mention with this, but I'm going to go forward to this slide first. Just to reorient everybody with how the North Main interchange will work in the future. And I know the lighting's a little bad with the yellow. But we've got the freeway, you know, I-15 that comes in here that bisects the community. And then these yellow lines here is shown what the future interchange will be and how it will connect with the existing Main Street interchange. So just give you a bigger picture. Then I'm gonna go back and zoom in to what's involved in phase one. So as part of this redesigned freeway interchanges, there's 4 different phases. We would have loved to have this be one phase, but due to environmental challenges and particularly funding, UDOT had to break this interchange up into 4 different phases. So phase 1 will construct a partial interchange and beltway. So what you see in the orange is phase 1. So you will have the Nebo Beltway. You will have the Nebo Beltway that will connect from Interstate 15 down through Arrowhead Trail, and then will connect at SR 198. So that major arterial is anticipated in phase 1. As part of that, to help move the traffic in the area, there will be an on-ramp onto I-15, and there will be an off-ramp I-15. There is no connection to the existing North Main interchange with this particular.
So those blue
phase.
lines don't exist?
So the blue lines do not exist. So yeah, orange is showing phase 1, blue is showing phase 2, so you can still see how it will connect to, but it's only orange that has been funded at this time.
Is the light at
designs-
198 the post office light?
No, 198 is where South Haven Farms is located. So that new community that's out here, so the hospital.
Yeah.
Is in this location. And then here you have the 55 plus Bay Low townhomes and the residents of South Haven Farms are located here. So that will give you a general idea of where that road will come in.
Yeah.
That will actually be that lighted intersection here. It's 2100 West County Coordinate, if you're familiar with the Haskellville area, but that's where that road will come in and connect to the overall system. So as far as design schedule, UDOT has hired Horrocks engineers and others in order to design phase 1. There will be some evaluation outside of phase 1, but they will concentrate their efforts on phase 1. It is anticipated that the general design will be done by the end of this year. Then there's a lot of evaluation that needs to occur in order for them to receive approvals from different agencies in order for this interchange to take place. They have to go through, they have to reevaluate the environmental impact statement. So they will once again be talking to several stakeholders. They will be talking to FHWA with the freeway itself. They're meeting with the railroad because the railroad tracks are located there along the freeway that could be impacted by this phase, this first phase. Army Corps of Engineers, they're talking with a lot of utility companies. So it's a pretty big machine in order to design and then to construct this transportation facility. But their goal is to have a shovel in the ground in spring of 2027. Of course, that's subject to change, but that's the target that they're working toward, is to actually start construction of this in 2027. So also in this area, we've been working with UTA on the front runner location. So bringing commuter rail to Payson. From Provo, there will be 3 stations along that corridor, one in Springville, one in Spanish Fork, and then the end of the line will be in Payson for the time being, or for the foreseeable future. There's been no funding identified for the front runner, the extension of front runner, and no time frame. A lot of the time frame is going to, it is related to growth in southern Utah County. So we are experiencing a lot of growth. We have a lot of planned growth. Some of that I will share on these slides. But a lot of it is we need to have the growth that's going to support the system, which will then help UTA with identifying funding for that capital improvement.
We did have Mike McKell say in the city council meeting that he wants it here before the Olympics. So.
Yes, so he did mention maybe, you know, we can tap into, you know, some imaginary Olympic funds in order to expand the transportation in South Utah County. A couple of other things in the vicinity which you're aware of is the sewer plant upgrade. Power plant's working on some new power generators to augment the power system. And then, you know, there's other office warehouse buildings that are going in the area, just there along Main Street. WICP, they have built 2 of their buildings. They submitted their site plan, and that's on the Brown property. I don't know if anybody knows where the Brown property was and where the arena was, just north of the bowling alley. It's a little off this map, but they built 2 tilt-up buildings. They have submitted their site plan for 2 additional, and then Maverick gas station will be going in that development.
Do you know how full those 2 buildings are yet?
I think they're full.
They are full, because I looked at them.
Really? So
That's great. That's why they're building 2 more.
So Lynn, are you looking for additional space?
We
Okay,
had a supplier that was
okay.
looking.
looking about it.
So maybe on the generators, I don't know how many know, but we get a lot of the solar stuff, and during the evening or when the demand's not so much, the solar comes on and the prices go way down. But in the evening when solar's not on, prices go way up, or during times when a lot of people are using their air conditioning, prices go way up. But we're putting in how many? 6 new generators that kind of offset that, so we have control over the peaks and valleys. I don't know if you know that we're doing that.
No, that's great additional. Thanks, Fran. Oh, I didn't run that. Okay. Oh, and then this is just showing the location. I know I had mentioned that the 3 different stations from Provo to Payson. So UTA's transit study that was completed back in 2021, that's where it identified with the growth of South Utah County that transit could support 3 stations in these 3 communities. Santaquin was a little, their projections didn't show the need for commuter rail going down to Santaquin, but the study did indicate that there will be an express bus that will go from the Payson site down to Santaquin. And so that will be part of this whole corridor for UTA. Here on the right-hand side shows the location of the proposed front runner station. This area that's in purple is the area that we have been studying to master plan to support development, residential development, economic development, a variety of different land uses and activities that would support that front runner station. As part of that effort, this is the land use plan that we're trying to, or that we're refining a little bit to get to the city council for adoption. But that 500 acres that is within a half acre or a half mile proximity of the front runner station shows a variety of neighborhoods that could support all of those different land uses. We want to have jobs, we want to have education, residential, regional retail, office space. We have, as you can see, all of those are indicated here in this land use breakdown. We feel like it's a good mix of uses and densities that would support those transportation facilities and the educational facilities that are planned in this area. Just for proximity, here you have the front runner. This is that new major arterial, the Beltway that we were mentioning that will connect with I-15. You'll have the transit-oriented development here. It will be vertical mixed use. So you're going to have multiple story buildings that will accomplish commercial, residential, and office space. Very close to, where the riders would need to utilize those transportation facilities. Close proximity to UVU's 39 acres that they've purchased here on the south side of the Beltway, and then transitioning into a variety of residential neighborhoods. On the east side of the freeway, we see an opportunity for a regional retail center. And so that's what you're seeing here with the red is the opportunity to take the frontage of Interstate 15, having great access to the arterial road system, and then also being close to new residential neighborhoods that's going to create the energy for those businesses or across the freeway to the front runner station. There'll be, as you can see here, they've incorporated a lot of the wetlands as open space, and some greenway or park systems that will connect the different neighborhoods. But this is a large mixed use development proposed our committee. It's similar to the Redbridge development, but just on a larger scale because of the acreage. So it's going to be very similar to Redbridge, but on steroids. Yes, and a lot more commercial. Absolutely. There's an opportunity here just because of land consolidation, and ownership of land here will allow us to realize this plan where it's more difficult in other areas where you're working with multiple landowners.
Is there any concern with the sewer plant and the smell drifting into some of this?
We are putting a lot of money into making that sewer plant so it doesn't smell. That's so.
We're part of the reason for the upgrade.
Yes.
There will always be some, but it's gonna be a lot better.
Yeah.
And that's good.
In that same area, there is a group of individuals that are acquiring property between Payson and Benjamin. And so you've got Payson that's here. These properties highlighted in pink here are some of the properties that encompass an area where these property owners or these developers are out purchasing property. I know that was tough to say, but the area that we're looking at here is getting up to 8,000 south. We have an agreement, the three cities of Payson, Salem, and Spanish Fork have an interlocal agreement that identifies which cities will have which corners of the Benjamin interchange. And so on the southwest corner, the agreement indicates that that area will be part of Payson one day. On the southeast side, it will be Salem, and the two corners north of 8,000 south will be Spanish Fork. So recognizing that there's some opportunities around a freeway interchange, most notably commercial and sales tax. Many years ago, the three cities got together and determined where those boundaries would be. And to date, we've been, all three cities have honored that. And it's given each of the cities an opportunity to do their infrastructure planning and land use planning in a way that will support our communities, but also be cohesive with the other communities. So we've got a good working relationship with those other cities. But this group is actually looking at about 450 or annexing about 450 acres between the existing North Payson boundary all the way up to 8,000 south, which is the Benjamin interchange. This is how they have a conceptual layout, of how they would like to, lay out their land uses, in this area and how it could connect in to the Payson station, which is the area, around the front runner station. It's conceptual at this time. They're looking at a variety of land uses, commercial, high density residential, some mixed use. And, staff is continuing to give them information on how they can adjust that plan in order to be consistent with our general plan. They've had a work session with the city council to get direction. And so as part of that work session, they're needing to make some additional adjustments. Then going to Red Bridge, probably familiar with Red Bridge, you probably discussed that before, but the most notable update of Red Bridge at this time is Mountain Land Technical College with the main campus opening this fall, so 2025. There's a lot of programs that are being offered there. They're listed there. You can go on their website. They actually have the Payson campus listed on their website, and they go into a little bit more detail on those different programs that are provided. They are also looking at, so here on this map, the MTech campus is being built right here. They are also working with the Red Bridge development team to lease an additional building that will be constructed on this corner for their cosmetology and their nail technician courses. This plan in this area also anticipates the extension or the expansion of 800 South. We've secured the corridor through this development for that road to continue west in the future. So as West Mountain develops, there's a need for good east-west connectivity, from Interstate 15 out to the West Mountain area. So we'll just continue to work with some of the other property owners in the area to secure that corridor to support that road at some point in the future. Again, it's planned, but it's not funded. And then just this area will expand other residential and commercial opportunities in this development node.
What's a UTA BRT stop? What does that mean?
Rapid transit.
Bus rapid.
Yes.
Oh, the
That's gonna be the one coming from Santa Cruz down to the front.
Okay.
So a couple things on that, Jill.
Yep.
One is, when's Red Bridge gonna really start building something?
Yes.
We're wondering the same thing. No, they've submitted, they have approval for several phases. So these phases along 800 or 1700 West here, have actually they've been approved. We've received development concepts on this property here, and then off the screen, a little bit further west towards the railroad tracks. They've received approvals for a townhome development on that property.
The
So
1700 West commercial or residential?
1700 West.
Yeah, the ones that I said.
So most of this area here is residential. There are some commercial pads. There's a commercial pad in front of these residential units here. And there is a resident or commercial here on this corner. The area along 850 South is anticipated to be mixed use. So the applicant and their design team is, several iterations have been shared with us of how we can accommodate that mixed use product there, maybe in a less traditional way. But yes, wanting to make sure that we're maintaining that balance of commercial and residential. We need the residential to support the commercial, but we can't forget about planning space for the commercial. But yes, most of the commercial will be, Jim, most of the commercial will be along the 850 South corridor.
Okay.
And then, further east between the freeway and 1700 South. Here's it.
I would also just say that, I think how to install several $1 million
Yes.
worth of infrastructure. And that's important. I heard from their team, last week that, they have finally submitted the applications to the city, or to the state to get their Red Ridge well online, which has been one of the major holdbacks of moving forward, so. I'm really hopeful.
Yeah, we're hoping that as soon as that infrastructure is online, yes, I mean, they're definitely motivated because of the millions of dollars that they put into the infrastructure system. It's, if we could start to see some vertical construction, I think that would,
It takes money to
you know, everyone could breathe a sigh of relief, but anyway. So here's the MTech, just a rendering of the MTech building. Some of you probably driven by, has looked, maybe even had a chance to take a tour of this facility, but really excited to have this in our community. And I know they're excited to be here.
So just on that picture, go back real just for that, on the top right-hand corner, that's where the innovation center is gonna be. One other thing, just so you know about MTech, they put in $2 million to the legislature, to the budgeting so they could hire teachers for this location. And they didn't get the money, so they're gonna, I mean, a lot of these things are coming from Spanish Fork, so they're still gonna have some money, but it's not gonna be able to hire everybody they want and get full program running this year, so probably. Kind of interesting because they all talk about how they all want this tech stuff and it went into some Mike Schultz wanted some thing for high schools or something to do with tech, and that's where 65 million went into that, so. Yeah, lowering the tax rate, yeah. So you get 25, they took the state $25.
$35.
Yeah, instead of having teachers for a technical.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just in the area, you know, it's gonna be more of an urban style development in these development nodes, not only Red Bridge, but the Payson Station. So we'll see multiple story buildings, we'll see a mix of land uses, but there'll be a lot of new opportunity for residential and commercial. Residential, a lot of diversity too, in between, you know, anything from apartments to ownership, condos, townhomes. And then on the periphery, some detached product. Downtown, phase 1 is complete. Some of you lived through it, right, Ty?
Right.
But,
You've been there, done that.
yeah, been there, done that. You're probably in that picture,
Phase one.
but.
She got jackets.
Yeah,
I
I
survived.
survived.
there you go.
No, it's been a great project for the city. Anyway, you know, this all started out with, you know, receiving some money through the state of Utah in order to update our infrastructure, and it just blossomed into so much more. So we're really excited that phase 1 is completed. That took care of Main Street between 100 North and 300 South, and also updated the northwest parking lot that's there behind ERA, the ERA building. Moving forward, we were able to identify money in order to move forward with phase 2, and that's under construction right now. Phase 2 is Main Street, so continuing down the Main Street corridor, so from 300 South to 500 South. So we'll be updating infrastructure below that building, and we'll be doing a complete reconstruction of that roadway, including curb gutter improvements and landscaping. Laterals to the homes, all it's similar to what we did, you know, further north. It also includes a reconstruction of the library parking lot. So right now, you know, parking downtown is a little because that took a lot of parking stalls out of the system during this, you know, through this construction project. But in the end, we're going to have new infrastructure underneath that road. We're going to have new, or underneath the parking lot. New storm drain facilities. We're also doing a little planning for the city building, the Utah Trikes building that the city purchased, making sure that we have the facilities needed in order to support food uses on that site. So we're installing a grease trap and making sure that there's a looped water line for fire suppression. Trying to do some additional planning that way to help support existing businesses and grow new businesses there. Estimated timeframe for that is July of 2025 for the parking lot. I think it actually extends a little further for the Main Street corridor, but we're hoping to have that parking lot back online in July and before the city celebrations. Future phases, there's some additional infrastructure that will need to be updated on the east side of Main Street or behind the structures on the east side of Main Street. And then there is the northeast parking lot that's over by Mi Rancherito. Those are still phases that we have designed, but we do not have funding or a time frame for them at this time. But anyway, we'll celebrate the successes and what we've done so far, and then look towards the future for identifying additional funding to do those last portions of Main Street and the downtown area. And then just new and expanded business opportunities. We've seen some additional growth downtown. We've seen a lot of interest with those improvements being completed. Brian had mentioned the Getaway Furniture Store will now be an event center. So we have a new owner there that's working to improve or renovate that building in order to support that use. We've had some other interest on some other spaces along there. Where Karen's calligraphy was, there's a new business that has gone into there. Hopefully some of you have visited Gourmet Way, which is the olive oil business that's there at the southern end of historic Main Street. So they've got some great gifts and different things that are in there.
Sandwiches
And
are
their
amazing.
sandwiches, yes, and their sandwiches are really, really good. So anyway, but yeah, we've seen some growth in downtown, and that's been exciting. There's still several vacant units downtown, but we're hoping that these new improvements downtown, expanding parking, will help spark some additional growth.
A couple other things for downtown. One is we're looking to redo in the downtown area what's permitted in the buildings to kind of keep that so we don't get manufactured and things like that. Some of those could go in there, but we're trying to make sure we have the right mix of businesses. And in the Tripe building, we're actually talking to a very popular restaurant going in there. So we're having some discussions with that. So, I'll be really excited if that one happens.
And then the other one that you may have noticed as you've driven through downtown is just some facade improvements. The city council did provide funding for a facade improvement program as part of this effort in order to help some of those businesses that needed to either upgrade their rear entrances to their buildings because of the lack of access, or those that had to remove awnings because they were projecting and encroaching into the public right of way. So there are a number of businesses that are taking advantage of that. I know that Ty was our first applicant, and he led the way for that. He was very patient getting through that process because he was the pioneer of that project. But if you've seen the rear entrance of his business, it's a success for that program. I did a really great job with that entrance. We're working with West Rose Floral Shop. Memory Lane Photography just completed their enhancements. We're working with Lazy J. They're doing some improvements to the rear of their business. Anyway, there's 4 or 5 that we're working with in order to take advantage of that facade program and help with the renovation of downtown. And then my presentation's fallen asleep.
Off with that time. I apologize on there. So thank you all.
Thanks,
Thank you,
David.
David.
So just here's the library parking lot to show you. Actually, this would have been helpful to have up when I was describing those areas. But most of the phases in the downtown area have been done or will be done this summer, except for this northeast parking lot that's located up here. Main Street's done, Utah Avenue's done, Northwest parking's done, and then the library parking will be done. So we'll continue to find opportunities for this. This is just a diagram that shows, the new, the boundaries of the area that for the library parking lot. So we're working on that, making some adjustments to the breezeway, so the access from the parking to the storefronts. We're working with a firm to actually help us with the public engagement for this construction project and making sure that we're getting updates out to those businesses or the tenants or the residents that live in this area, and also just to the community. So these notice of construction and these updates are going out weekly, and you can find the information on our website, and you can also sign up for email updates. So, it's just easier to have something emailed to you that gives you an update of what's happening for the upcoming weeks or months. I would definitely check that out. And then lastly, just some of the new businesses that are coming in town. There's probably more than this, but these were just the ones that came to mind. Mobetta's Hawaiian style food is going down by Walmart. In that particular building, it is a 2-unit building. That's this building here. Mobetta's is only going to take up a portion of this building. So if anybody knows of another food user or another business that would like to be in that 8 South District, then we can definitely get you in touch with that developer because they're looking for a tenant for the second space. McDonald's has submitted a site plan for a second location in Payson. This McDonald's will go down by Popeyes. So in between, so that vacant lot that is between Popeyes and Cafe Rio on 800 South will be in McDonald's. And then on the corner, the one that's under construction is Golden West Credit Union. And then the Fairfield by Marriott Hotel planned by Walmart is close to receiving site plan approval if it hasn't. I mean, maybe it has even received approval, but Gary, we're working out some details still on access and. Okay. So we're working on that, but that's a rendering of what the Fairfield by Marriott Hotel will look like. And then, as I mentioned at the beginning, the Maverick gas station. So we will have a Maverick gas station that will be located on the north interchange, up towards the Public Works facility, next to those new WIC buildings that are located at about 1200 North Main Street, up by the bowling alley. Anyway, that is my presentation. So hopefully that provided a good overview. We have a lot of other things happening, but we can share those with you at a future meeting. Hopefully that brings you up to speed of where we're at.
So just a couple of things that are happening. We're still working with Woodbury on getting the big box in the pit, so that's still moving forward. Also, we met with a group out of Atlanta that does big sports complexes. And we'll see what, got to do a lot of vetting with them, but if they come, it's going to be a really, really big deal. So, but we got some vetting to do. We're going to try to get them here for a site meeting. So. Pretty awesome. Any questions? Hey, thanks everybody for all you do. It's a group. And
Yeah, I appreciate everybody being part of this. I mean, I just during Jill's presentation, I thought when we first started this, economic development board, we met up by the hospital and it took a long time to grow some legs and there's just not a lot going on. You see now that there's, I think a lot of the efforts, what's going on around here now, there's just things happening. There's still a lot of challenges with infrastructure and stuff like that, but it's coming. And you're gonna see a lot of front runner buildings. Payson's gonna change. And there's a lot of good things.
Okay.
One chance to do it right.
I know.
That's what it's right.
And there's a lot of planning going on. I mean, it's been, seems like it's all we do is plan, but you see now that it's needed.
I agree.
Start to see some things coming from it, because yeah, sometimes it's a 20-year project, so when it actually gets to shovel in the ground, like the freeway, we're gonna celebrate. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's taken a long time to get to that point.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Appreciate y'all being here.